President Cyril Ramaphosa will be appearing before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry next month. The announcement was made by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo today.
Previously said that the President of the Republic, President Ramaphosa, will appear before the Commission at some stage, and that he had indicated that he would be ready to come and testify and be questioned about any matters that are being investigated by the Commission once I had determined the dates. I have now determined the dates when he will appear, and I deem it appropriate that I should make this announcement publicly. I have determined four days. The dates are 22 and 23 April and 28 and 29 April.
Well, let's discuss this now with David Lewis, Executive Director of Corruption Watch. Good evening, Mr. Lewis. Thank you very much for your time. So, Cyril Ramaphosa will be appearing towards the end of April. Do you think it's important for the content of what he's going to say, or to show the political will is there to be part of the Commission?
I think both are important. I mean, you know, he was Deputy President of the ANC and of the country during the state capture, much of the state capture period, or all of it, in fact. And so I think he has light to shed on the state capture thing. And then also, of course, as we all know, he's the financing of his campaign to become president of the ANC has been made something of an issue. And I think it's appropriate that he answer questions around that, although I think it's somewhat unfair that the other candidates who stood against him in the race for the ANC presidency and therefore the country's presidency are not being asked to answer the same questions. I'm not sure that either of them would have a totally satisfactory tale to tell.
It's interesting as well that yesterday, and we've just spoken to him earlier this evening, AfriForum wants to cross-examine President Ramaphosa when he appears. And they say that they've spoken to their lawyers and that the Commission actually does allow it, because I was under the understanding that you have to have first have testified yourself before you can apply to cross-examine someone else. They believe that actually that is not the case. Do you think, if that is true, that we might see a lot of people and a lot of groups applying to cross-examine President Ramaphosa?
My understanding, and I speak under correction, that cross-examination is at the discretion of the chair of the commission under Judge Zondo's discretion. You know, if AfriForum has a real interest in this, you know, he may allow them to cross-examine. I don't know that they have any greater interest in it than you and I, and I'm not sure why they should cross-examine. I mean, I'm presuming that they want to cross-examine him on his campaign funding. I'm not sure what else.
They say they have evidence, and they want to speak to him about when he was head of the cadre deployment section at 2013 to 2016.
In that case, I would imagine that what Judge Zondo would require of them, as he did of, I think, of Moyane, is that they put their evidence on affidavit, and that they maybe subject themselves to cross-examination as well. I mean, why should their evidence go unexamined when, in fact, when they want the president's evidence to be cross-examined, you know? So I'm not sure that there's such a great case for AfriForum or anybody else, for that matter, who doesn't have who can't show a real direct interest in this, to cross-examination. This is not a court proceeding. The rules are set by the Commission and what is useful for the Commission.
So tomorrow, of course, is a big day. You know that the Constitutional Court is going to be dealing with the application from the Commission, the contempt of court issue against the former President Jacob Zuma for refusing to appear. Do you really believe that the former president may end up in jail for 2 years over this? Or do you think it's just posturing to get him?
Well, I think if the former president doesn't find a way of getting himself out of that, he may well find that he lands in jail. I mean, you know, what has been speculated, and I don't know even whether this is within the realm of possibility, is that he be given a suspended sentence conditional upon him making a submission to the Commission, and that if he doesn't make a submission to the Commission, the suspension will be lifted and he will serve his sentence. I don't know if that's possible, but that sounds like quite a neat way of concentrating his mind upon whether he wants to give evidence or not. But I think otherwise he'll go to jail, and, you know, I'm afraid so well he should. You know, he's shown incredible contempt for the Constitution, the courts, the judges, and, you know, you allow somebody to get away with this, and as has already been proven to be the case, others will follow and argue, well, if we're all equal before the law, why should I not get away with it?
We are hearing, and this is from a tweet sent out by journalist Karen Morn, that Tom Moyane was meant to appear tomorrow, but apparently he is ill. I have to ask a very quick question. We saw quite a fiery interchange again last night between Tom Moyane's lawyer, Advocate Dali Mpofu, and Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan. We have seen so much testimony, and the Commission is drawing to a close. Do you think that we are seeing important, serious headway? Or has there been a lot of unnecessary, extraneous information that's come through that ultimately the Commission will not need?
You know, in every proceeding of this sort, whether it's a court proceeding or a Commission proceeding, in hindsight, you hear a lot of extraneous evidence, but it all goes to creating the environment, creating the atmosphere. And I think on the whole, and obviously one can't prejudge the quality of the report, I think that the Zondo Commission has been a very fruitful exercise, actually. And last night's performance by Dali Mpofu was part of that. You know, when you run out of legal track, you resort to bullying and intimidation and acting. It's also not so uncommon in courts of law and in commissions of inquiry, and he really demonstrated that in bucket loads yesterday.
Thank you so much, David Lewis, Executive Director of Corruption Watch.